Apparently, your entire family is watching this morning. No pressure.
Yeah. Good morning to the family down there. I hear my grandmother is visiting my mom and stepdad in Florida. I think they're
Oh,
in Daytona Beach right now, so I still have to see that condo they bought about a year or two ago. Maybe this summer I'll see it. But yeah, I'm all messed up today because I'm in the operations center of our facility. Brandon was on work in the night shift, so let me turn the camera around right quick.
Okay.
This is our operations floor, and there's Brandon in the far corner over there working the night shift. Wave your hand, Brandon.
Hi.
hey, Brandon.
But there's also another Brandon over there. So we have two Brandons in the office right now, and we have Issa. She's one of our newest forecasters here to
Hi, Isa.
WFO Guam, and so she's still in training with Brandon for the night shifts. And so part of her certification board, before she gets certified to run shift by herself, we'll have her do one of these broadcasts.
All right.
So-
Wait a minute. So you got
might
someone
see her one of
named
these
Issa.
Rainbow?
Yeah, you've got someone named Issa as a weather forecaster. You could not script that. That is perfect.
It was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been here a couple months, but she's familiar to our office. She was here, I guess, about a year ago around the holidays. So she's been here for a while. And of course, you see our Halloween decorations, our Christmas decorations. We're still very seasonal here. And Brandon working for the Micronesia forecast.
Hi,
So-
Brandon.
Hey, good
We're gonna
morning.
go to my office, and Jason and them says good morning. They didn't hear you because I have the ears in. But we're gonna go to my office. We're gonna talk about all things weather. It's been dry out there, except for some showers. If you lived up on the Upper West Side where I live, we had some showers yesterday, and it was a pretty wet morning. However, not much of that fell across central southern Guam. It's just been that gradient where not everybody sees the showers. I'm going to take my mask off right quick. There we go. So we're looking at the water vapor imagery. This is showing, of course, the deep atmospheric moisture versus the dry air is the yellow. That's the dry. The blues, that's the green, and then the whites down the very moist tropical air down there. They're having a lot of showers and thunderstorms. We'll talk about that coming up just shortly. Here for the Guam and the CNMI, we're kind of in that boundary where there's a little bit of moisture, but still not much to squirt out the showers. I did have one heavy downpour on my way to work this morning about 4:30. It lasted all of 4 seconds. So that's about as good as it gets right now. And if you were paying attention to the news over the weekend, there were some fires, especially across central southern parts where they had the wildfires. So this is the infrared satellite imagery. The red box, that's the WFO Guam area of responsibility. So that encompasses, of course, all of the Mariana Islands, the Marshall Islands, FSM, and the Republic of Palau, basically everything between the Philippines and Hawaii. Down to the southwest, that's a tropical disturbance that's spinning weekly southeast of Palau. That is moving west, northwest, and it's going to be passing near Palau in the coming days. Do we expect any development out of that? Not really. It's going to be a lot of showers, thunderstorms, and some gusty winds for Palau, and maybe Yap if it scoots farther north. Otherwise, it's going to be a rain event, and that's good for them because it'll withhold any kind of onsetting drought conditions. So for the broader region, Yap and Palau, they've been very abundant when it comes to the rainfall. Farther north in Guam and the CNMI, not so much. It's still very dry across the area. We have some spotty showers out there. They'll be moving through later this morning with sunnier, drier weather for the rest of the day. But we could have a little bit of a wetter pattern for the week ahead. Some of the models, they vary between 1 inch over the next 10 days for Guam to 2 inches over the next 10 days for Guam, and only a half inch for Tinian and Saipan. So there's that disparity between rainfall estimates and whichever numerical model you want to use. So Jason, go ahead and cue up the slides.
Gotcha.
We'll go over there now. So the headlines for today, we have a moderate risk of rip currents. We did see some high surf over the weekend, particularly along north-facing reefs. That was a little pulse of north swell coming through. That's since declined a little bit. The other big story right now is the extreme fire danger. So that means any fires that begin, they will be hard to contain, especially in the windier parts of the day. If we see these winds increase through the afternoon, becoming gusty, that may prompt a red flag warning. So right now we have a fire weather watch, and we are still abnormally dry with moderate drought across Guam, Rota, Tinian, and Saipan. For Micronesia, We're still issuing drought information statements for extreme drought in Kapinga, Maringi, and Pohnpei of the FSM. Severe drought for Northern Marshall Islands and moderate drought for Jalawit and Fananu and the Marshall Islands and Chuuk State, respectively. You go to our webpage, weather.gov/GUM, that's what you'll see. All those pink banners for the weather hazards, the alerts, the fire weather watch, which currently remains in effect through this afternoon. That could be bumped up to a red flag warning if the winds do increase through the day. So the next slide, that shows the Facebook page from yesterday. This is a graphic Brandon posted yesterday regarding the fire weather watch for Guam. The special weather statement for Yap and Palau is that disturbance spins weekly across Western Micronesia. Again, we don't expect any development for the folks for Yap and Palau other than showers and thunderstorms. So that'll be much needed rainfall for them. If we could see that rainfall elsewhere across the region, that would be great, especially for southern Pohnpei State and Kapinga Maringi. The next slide, the current conditions, east winds at 10 miles per hour, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Those clouds will be clearing out with sunnier conditions for today. Only a few showers around the island this morning. Current temperature was 78 degrees. That, of course, is increasing. The rainfall, we're averaging about a dime per day. That's normal rainfall on a daily basis this time of year. We're below average. We had 1/100th of an inch yesterday. And since January 1st, we've been at 5 1/4. That's down half for the year. We should be around 10.3 inches for the year. So that's our rainfall deficit as it is right now. And again, the next slide, current fire danger is extreme. That could be knocked down a little bit if some things come into play later this week. We could see a little bit more moisture this week with a couple weather features. That's what we're hopeful for. Fire weather watch currently in effect through this afternoon, and that could be bumped up to a red flag warning today if the winds increase. The next slide, that is the U.S. Drought Monitor drought map for the region with moderate drought for Guam and Rota and severe drought for islands of the Marshall Islands and extreme drought for far southern Pohnpei State. The next slide, this is the polar orbiting winds at the surface, showing the green wind barbs across Guam and the CNMI, and of course towards Yap and north of Palau. Those are 15 to 20 knot winds. We're going to see these conditions continue at least for the next couple days. Down south, you see that sea. That is that weak tropical disturbance. Really, the winds are not that strong, but it's just a weak circulation. There's a little bit of convergence on that north side, and that's what's generating the showers and thunderstorms. As that moves toward the west-northwest, we expect it to pass south of Palau in the coming days, bringing showers, thunderstorms, and those gusty winds. So the outer islands of eastern Yap State and Palau, they'll be seeing the brunt of that with the gusty winds, possibly gusting up to 25 knots. Nothing too terrible with the showers and thunderstorms. The next slide, combined seas today are 7 to 8 feet. That's down a little bit over the weekend when we had a larger north swell. East swell, that's the primary focus, is 4 to 6 feet, and a northeast swell at 4 feet. That's going to gradually subside a little bit. Now, I heard rumor there was a video circulating last week about some possible inundation, a mini tsunami of sorts, or a rogue wave. After looking into the situation, and that video was taken from the War in the Pacific Aston Park, that was a north swell. And if you see these spikes in the green line over the last several days, that was a spike in the north swell around March 3rd. And when we had the high tide overnight, March 3rd, early March 4th, the swell and the period were just enough to bring some overwash into the parking lot. So that was caused by the north swell, and we get that from time to time, especially this time of the year. That was not tsunami generated. We can see those signatures in the tide gauges and the deep sea buoys. We can see those tsunami signatures, and this was not a tsunami. That was just a long period north swell event, and we get those from time to time. So the swell, combined seas will gradually subside about 1 or 2 feet in the coming week, but they could remain elevated, especially with some weather systems coming through. Mostly sunny, isolated light showers today with east winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour. There is a moderate rip risk. That's along east and north facing reefs. And on the ocean, combined seas of 7 to 8 feet. This week, we do have a, related to tropical disturbance going toward Palau, there is a surface trough that extends toward the northeast that's going to be sweeping by just to our south in the coming days. We could see some scattered showers beginning tonight through Tuesday. That'll give us some rainfall across Guam, not so much for Rota, Tinian, and Saipan to the north. And then it dries up again for the midweek with isolated showers, but then we could have another feature of this time of the year. A shear line is going to be setting up across the southern Mariana Islands that could bring us more scattered showers later in the week. This would be all shallow, low layer moisture. Should not generate any heavy downpours or thunderstorms this week, just shallow, lower atmospheric moisture. The weekend dries up, partly clouded with isolated light showers, and combined seas will be about 5 to 7 feet. And so that's all I got for you today. Again, join the Weather Ready Nation. If you want to be a part of our organization and our outreach, we are always glad to welcome you all to the Weather Ready Nation, any agencies, offices, businesses, or your schools, and link up with us for all things weather.
Right on. Thank you, Landon.
Hey, you're welcome.
All right. Take it easy, my friend. That's Monday Workweek Weather. We get that every Monday right here on the link with Landon Aydlett of the